Hello, Blender folks. Welcome and welcome back to Xenomes. Yeah. So, we're back after many days. I was dealing with a lot of plant stuff and managing stuff. And also it's the climate here is crazy. It's winter here in my region, southern hemisphere, southern Brazil. And today particularly the winter is these days on August. It's crazy. It was looking like it was summer a few weeks ago. A couple of weeks ago it was summer here. Crazy. And then suddenly now it's like it's 15 degrees Celsius, but it feels like it's 10 degrees less, like because if you're not directly in the sunlight, which heats more, it's like the humidity, the wind, it feels like it's freezing cold. It's very weird. Humidity also causes this cold thermal sensation. It's well known, but it's very weird. Yeah, dense in climate, temperatures, weather. Okay, so today we are going to address more of the shape-keys-led face rig on Toon Dorothy, cartoon version, or she's already cartoon but stylized, but now she's a bit more cartoonish, smaller, shorter proportions, even more simplified, low poly geometry than, oops. So, we're gonna restart from here. Continue, right? So what I had before achieved, not super good, but already sets the beginning. I have this stretch out for both sides, right? We can also have, better that I do the purse, which is the pinch, I guess. We have this happy that we can combine with the stretch, and then we'll be able to combine with the pinch. And this is sort of a linear smile. We can there's another smile that is more rounded, which achieved by rotation. And of course this can be affected also by this, so we can sort of combine stuff, right? But it's a bit unpredictable. I haven't tested everything. Probably would need some corrective shape key, the delta and the diagonal, who knows, for each kind of combination. We're gonna make the sad or from, also two types, and the subdivision surface modifier that I'm using here for the, it's not really doing all that I was considering it will do, so it's not really solving these deltas, unfortunately, but that's okay. We will be able to continue this way. Hold on. So I'm gonna start with the from, yeah. So this is, I'm gonna do it by hand, right? Like modeling. So I'm using gauntlet gloves, so my precision here is not very good. Maybe I'll have to. Okay, so you see there's no motion here. We want to have sort of this, and also we'd like the reverse here, the inverse here. So I'm not gonna symmetrize, let's say, downwards. I'm gonna build this from set expression from scratch. So these bones are getting my nerves, so let's just pick these ones, I guess. All right. Then we're gonna go for the... Okay, I'm gonna get rid of one glove, the one for the keyboard. And the other one, I'm using a graphic palette from an old Wacom tablet. Big, not big, but okay, sort of not small. All right, so let's get here with the mesh object. We could hide stuff that we don't need for this workflow right now. This doesn't look very good geometry, right? Sounds a bit disorganized, right? I don't like this very much, so let's just try to get some... Yeah, this will slightly affect the shape keys that I've already developed, but it's okay. This I'm considering anyways to have a... We might be using a... No? Yeah, the shapes are a bit distorted here. Little smooth one here. Okay, this is probably because of the... Okay, so we'll have to address later on. It's not my problem right now. It's the... Yeah, it's just a minute detail, but I think it matters. It's not good. Yeah, I prefer to have a better shape here. Is the proxy mesh that we don't see here. It's not having a good... It's probably the vertex group here I need to revise. Also, it's probably because I changed this mesh position. I need to update it. Yeah, a very cumbersome thing, but the I don't have in this version here an update for a script. I should probably get this script back because this is starting to become a problem. So bring back the script. Yeah. Yeah, like a reproduce. Python. Python script for auto proxy face, yeah, whatever. So whenever I click the script play button, it will just regenerate the script. It's not too hard to build. Actually, it's simple, but it takes a while to figure out everything that you need to do. And certain things you still have to fix manually, like some mesh editing, because I don't know how to make this procedurally. Probably it's feasible with geometry nodes, but I need to apply the geometry nodes in the script. Yeah, I'm not sure. Probably that should work, but it should take better fix manually for now. So we're gonna continue here. So we need the okay, we're gonna make these names already, because so it's like a mouth stretch is it's not purse, it's instead tightener, right? So mouth tightener. What's the name here? Press. Yeah, I'm gonna call it tightener. So basically, so what it does, yeah, before that, we're gonna also get okay. So we'll start from here. Finally. So this is one of the most difficult features the Purse to achieve with a deform rig, because it's very easy to disrupt all these lip smash, especially if it contains some organic shapes, which these ones would. But even if it doesn't, it's very easy to cause unwanted results in the mesh, right? Because it starts to collapse in horrible ways, and it's just horrible. So there's no intelligence in here from the software, like basically as expected, right? Not intelligent, but what I mean, there is no, it's unforgiving. So it's very hard to get to have a proper manipulation of these shapes. At least the way I keep doing them, it's hard to find new ways that are even recommended, or because many things work, a lot of things will work, but it's very hard to find something that will work for you and that will definitively be efficient, cost efficient for. So it's very tough. Even on a low poly, if we want the 3D to have this kind of very expressive and detail, like 2D-ish, usually cartoony, but a good style of cartoon. It's like I mean, not lazy cartoon, something that is more advanced, and not oversimplified, which is cool, but sometimes is the is a good strategy. That's why I'm simplifying, but I'm simplifying still to a level that it's still hardcore, but less hardcore than what I was doing before. And yes, essentially it's a nightmare. 3D, that's why these guys, the fellows that are making this 3D animation shows, it's a company, I think, based in Australia. It's the Pomni Digital Circus things. So these guys, these fellows, they have a, I think I've mentioned this already, right? They're like a sort of, they got tired of this shit of 3 CG, right? They decide to rock blast this crap out of intelligent design. Of course, those designs have limitations, but they made some sort of critical effort to get this character design that is pleasant enough for them and that is also useful for 3D efficiency. And by doing that, they were able to, wow, what is this? Well, I don't have a mirror modifier, so this is collapsing in very, is it some, it's probably the, what the hell is this? Ah, I didn't know this. No, it's not the shrink wrap. Ah, there's a geometry. What is this thing? solidify, right? So there's a I think there's something related to the this is probably not working yet, so maybe I should I tried to make a solidify modifier with the geometry nodes, so I could make a special solidify to the teeth, the gums, the arcades, as I join them on the base mesh. But apparently this is causing some wreak havoc, but that's okay. We can survive this for now. That's a bit experimental because sometimes, yeah, efficiency, sometimes it takes a lot of experimentation because, yeah, you can make a giga. I think even a noob, I mean, even a newcomer, an initiate in Blender, if they got the instructions, they can really make some real good rig. I mean, skinning, but it will take forever. And that means that with just a few techniques, a few methods, or you can be one can be an initiate in rigging and still achieve a very sophisticated deformed system, right? Skinning, right? But it would take forever, and then if you need to replicate that, it will take forever again, and with some amount of reproducibility, reusability. But so this is why you need better methods. I need better methods at least, and so this is why the research for efficiency. So here, apparently we got some purse thing going on, and as you can see, this melt tightener left seems to procure a good result in terms of of this kind of mount expression. However, let's see now what happens if we combine this with some there's no control over the tightener, so it's probably good that we do this now. I'm gonna have to change the limit of this x here. No, it's not the x. It's of the no, there's limit rotation. Okay, so this is a lot. We want a maximum. No, this is the maximum. And here we want negative. Let's try this. I think it's too much. Well, can work. So we're gonna bring it here. Just gonna copy that. Control Shift C, Control Shift. Control C. Okay, so this is bugged. this operator should be working. Okay, let's copy here and okay, it's pasting, but it's not copying, whatever. So the value here, so this divide the variable is negative 0.01, right? And the x location, local space, right, of that mouth bone, and that mouth left, and then divided by itself, right? Although normalized, itself is actually the negative, but I'd insist that the negative is because, let's say, this bone is supposed to, this direction is to be negative, so it doesn't really matter. It will. So I prefer to symbolize like this. So divide by this normalized value, and then that means that the maximum, because we locked or will locked into this value, the limit, not lock, limit, we limited this negative value. Then when we divide the var, the value of the input with itself normalized, we'll get a positive, negative, signal. Here we got the signal, we got the 1, and that means output of 1 for the driver value, and that means that we got this precision here. Same here. And so now we can try to see if this purse combines anyhow well with this. Not really, but at least we got the yeah, at least we got the purse, right? So then as for the other one is, so it's duplicate R, and then we just copy. This is all bugged. I need to report this thing. Yeah, and then here it is just changing the bone, except that here it will be a positive, if I'm not wrong. And then here also we need to invert. And now, well, oh yeah, it is still locked, so I need to resymmetrize, right? Now we got it. Some shape going nuts here. I didn't see that, so we need to there's a way to flatten this, I guess. Scale. No. Yeah, whatever. These are not the final shape of the ellipse, so this is really to be some sort of regular geometry. I'm struggling to find what it means right here because it's too small, right? But yeah, it's supposed to be like that. So here you could... It's very difficult to manipulate this, I think. I'd love to procedurally solve these things here, like yeah. Still thinking. The problem is that the solidify modifier crushes the mesh in the head mesh object, so it's garbage. I don't know why it works like that, but it's keeps flipping stuff in a horrible way, and in a very weird, unpredictable way. Even when you use target, it's crap, right? I think it's bugged, and it turns out that geometry nodes might have a way to solve this. But apparently it was causing some trouble as well. But it doesn't matter. Right now, it's not the focus. Okay, so we got this. It's very exaggerated, but we are going to... We'll have to reproduce this. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, so... I think the way to do this would be to... Yeah, get this mesh, then get this, maybe this too, and then we need to... Like, we get this, no. Yeah, we get all this mesh here, and then we need to sort of propagate it to... Not propagate, but... substitute, right? This will be super destructive. No, it's just... Not add, but sort of substitute from the tightener, right? Except that this is just this one, right? Yes, so this kind of works. We're getting still some weird results here. So now we got again this. There we go. No? Oh, okay, okay. It's because it is stacking, right? When it stacks both. Oh no, actually I was probably getting the wrong one. Yeah, we fix here. And then we do this. And apparently nope. Well, seem to have been able to solve the maybe we forgot to do this. Using the wrong one. Yeah, it's when they stack, so essentially. But this doesn't mean too much, right? It's just something that if we can fix, good. If not, okay. So then it's time to address the frown expression or sad expression. We're gonna use so let's see what the happy was. So here we get something as exaggerated as this. It's a positive Z. Okay. Okay, so we know what we're gonna do here. We start with this is too much, right? So we're gonna get just up to here. This also it tends to extrapolate, so let's accept this for these values, but for now, right? I'm calculating time, as you can see. Where's the SED? There. Yeah, mouth frown. It's very subtle here, right? More realistic. And there's a SED, I think. Yeah, so we'll need more geometry here. Yeah, not exactly what I wanted, but we got something like this, so we need to maybe spread this mesh here. So the shapes get really wild here. because of the geometry of the face. But with some approximations here, we can eventually get closer to something that might be usable. This is called Galaxy, I guess. No, Astronomy. Okay, now let's see. It doesn't look too good right here, right? As a from, but this is a matter of time we spent. We spent fixing this. It's also, I mean, a matter of time. Oh yeah, of course. This needs some sort of not so much this one, because this is not the rotational one, but probably a little won't hurt. Right, so it gets something already in the process, and it will be better when you see both sides at once, of course. Seems this mesh has extrapolated a little too much from the original face. We don't want this. Yeah, so this sort of deformation of the face is, I think it's positive, as long as it doesn't destroy too much the curvature, right? If it's just a quick adaptation, that is fine. Follow up, right? Secondary motion, and that will be good. See, not too bad. It's actually cute, even though very simplified. Here we can augment this a little more. We can add the... I still don't like how this top of the head is. Let's is just sort of unfitting. Okay, I think this is better. And then we gonna get... I need to look at the... like the hair, yeah, to see how that's... maybe the body as well. Yeah, so it could be straighter, but those are minute adjustments, we can say, which could take forever, of course. But it's very important to go for the building blocks, right? At this stage. And once we have these building blocks, we can go for more fancy perfectionistic detailment, right? If you like. I certainly will try to keep improving this. I'm still believe it should be feasible to find a very good mesh topology for this kind of lips interior. Especially now that I'm doing this with shape keys. Maybe I'm overdoing stuff a little. And yeah, I trust there should be a way. There should be ways. At the same time, I don't want to totally sacrifice the possibility of having some regular geometry for armature deformed skinning, right? Armature deformed bones, right? skinning from deformation instead of morphs, which morphs would be the shape keys. But yeah, that'll be... I already tried this, but I couldn't find a good... I couldn't find a decisive solution, but it turns out that some, not necessarily face loop, but some tactical topology for the lips interiors, my lips walls, corners, can be helpful also for the selection of the safe face loops, and certainly for the smoothing and all that, and for the shape keys making. So there's another story. So I believe it's all... There is some path there that would need some extra attention. Unfortunately, by destructing those things here, it will cause massive havoc. But so it would need to be done experimentally on another mesh, and then if that works, then we could probably apply here. Okay, so let's do the other side now of this thing. But before, let's make sure that this is working with the copy driver, paste driver, edit driver. We want here to be negative 0.2, I guess, and yes. Yeah, so you see how this push some mesh there. It's interesting, right? Like some muscles. Yeah, it doesn't look good in relation to the other side, but I don't think I can help anything right now. It might be just that the shape is not good, or the original rest position is also not very accurate for all this kind of expression. Also, this straight expression, it's just more a fabrication here, just to see if we can use this constructively, right? In this sense here, you see that it doesn't seem to provide the straightness that I wanted. Yeah, it is. It will require some more adjustments, right? But we know the workflow, right? So if it maximized there, it is responsive enough, so we can just get now the duplicate. Now I got something. Yeah, sort of unexpectedly. And yeah, so we can also have the The stretch, though, set stretch combination is not really doing a great job, right? The purse, it's doing something, but then we have excessive lips, right? But interesting, right? So maybe this stretch, yeah, this stretch shouldn't have this appearance of happy. Maybe the stretch needs to be like not horizontal, but even going a bit downwards to counteract something. And in the end, anyways, you'll probably need some fixes, right? Yeah, so the regular stretch is doing something that looks a happy face, but it's a question of also if we look, yeah, of the curvature of the muzzle, right? So what we're gonna do now is that we're gonna address that other sad, which is the C. We're gonna address it. So I'm gonna exaggerate it. Like, I'm gonna place it here, right? Yeah, so this is a good pointing maybe of where we want to get it, right? Looks like here would be in serious need of more geometry for. Um, we shouldn't have access to that geometry. Okay, we can say that in spite of all this madness, it's almost done, because essentially it's just all this mesh here that is crazy, but the curvature is about to be solved. Yeah, so this is the central line. Here we need to retrieve this back a little for this particular round expression. Same for here. So you want yeah, so we'll need to do some muzzle contortionism here. It's like really twisting the right. Yeah, so if you only could get the ellipse anatomy in some sort of procedural way, then maybe even as an extra mesh that we put on top of this. I don't know, because then we have to shape key it as well. Yeah, so it's super complicated. So for now we have to deal with this madness here. Relatively it's simple to comprehend, but sometimes it gets really messed up, right? I need to remember the shapes that I'm working on here. So basically, two face loops here represent the front of the lips, and two other, which is already incorrect here apparently, while two others represent the already the lips walls or something inside, although it's three-dimensional and it's not that simple. The face loop, they make different shapes if they are on the top and upper lip, so near the lips corner, and so this is why maybe the topology needed to be more specific. It's a very interesting challenge, but very super puzzling. It's not just any sort of topology. No, this is topology for that needs to mesh topology that needs to contemplate a combination of problems. Not just rigging. Rigging for what? What do you want for the rigging? Yeah, and also for skinning and for better manipulations of the shapes. and control of the shapes. Through mesh manipulation and of course through rigging, right? But since the rigging is shape keys based here, so it's rigging regarding face manipulations. It's not very easy to manipulate faces like this. If we could have some parts simplified or better representing some bulge, some volume of the lips, that would be better, right? But at the same time, without making the mesh too weird, right? So let's see what we have here. We almost got the same result of the... So I wasn't paying attention, just trying to fix some stuff, and we ended up with having very bad result here. At this point, I feel like really for the shape key, looks like some lack of mesh geometry as we get it stretched too much, right? And we start to lose some flexibility here. And then again here, it's like I have to super stretch this stuff. Wait, at some point this can break the face. I don't know, I'm concerned. We'll see how resilient this is, but here I think it's okay as long as this face don't overlap, don't twist. That should work. So if this face, as long as this face keep planar, then that should be fine. Yeah, it's still not working, right? It's super simple to draw here. Of course, what's causing problems that the shrink wrapping here, because it's not snapping, right? So this is the problem. This shape key thing doesn't shrink wrap and unsnap. So I have to find a way to improve this workflow. So what that means is that, you see, although the face stays there, the position goes behind. The morph position goes behind. This kind of is fixed, auto-solved back, but it's not perfect. Otherwise, I wouldn't have to fix deltas anyways, or some. So this is not trustworthy enough for some reason that I couldn't understand. The shrink wrap modifier just is not strong enough than the shape key. Sometimes the shape key will bypass the control of the modification. So in order to make the thing to snap, we need, of course, to be able to visualize the proxy mesh. And then that means that we'll have to manipulate this mesh with some face project, maybe this. And yeah, we need to... So here it is snapping. Ah, I see. Okay, so here is the problem. It's not necessarily a problem, but it probably is a problem. It's the snap doesn't have like the shrink wrap. So this is a huge limitation of the shrink wrap modifier. This is snapping to the target. It's not snapping to the where I wanted it to snap, in front. But the thing is that maybe this works, right? What does the active does? I don't want to have a proxy mesh that is... Although we can, it's not hard. We can duplicate and have a proxy mesh for snapping only. Yeah, then we could solve this. But we could make a test. So maybe like if this is working for this workflow, then okay, that will be acceptable, right, folks? But then that means that all the mesh... that's not good. That means that all the mesh need to be shrink wrapped. The base mesh, yeah, it is weird, right? Yeah, very weird. The shape keys... Okay, I'm... For the shape keys, I'm gonna build like this, because maybe it works. Although we need to be careful about the ellipse region, right? Yeah, very careful here. Yeah, so here we can have some very bad results. We need to be... Yeah, now it's not so simple because we have this mesh here and we don't want to have it snapping. Of course, this curvature needs to be a little better here. Okay, maybe we need to get these face loops a little back there, and these ones... These ones I can snap, yes. All this we can snap. Wait, I think I'm snapping wrong faces here. Oh yeah, this thing doesn't combine well with the... Okay, let's try this now. So you see, I tried to limit the geometry density, the mesh density. It caused even worse than... It also caused problems, right? So because I couldn't make the proper curvature from the center. Like I just had one face loop, edge loop here, and then this other edge loop would be focused for the lips corners, right? So it could be the case to make a split here, and maybe for lips like this we could even make a trigon here. Why not, right? And also I'm aware of the possibility I've been investigating for certain elements of shading and rigging for this kind of low poly character design to not use the subdivision surface for the mesh, because there are possible ways to obtain like cute character design, like of course we know this, with like more gamish like stuff, right? So there's a chance that we could sustain low poly development without even the subdivision surface modifier, and the results we could I'll have to bring this to the other scene, which are the scenery, but because the subdivision surface modifier will cause some twist, it will change the topology, and that will change certain faces prescriptions. Sometimes it can be unwanted for shading effects, but often is good for rigging, but not 100% of the cases. Besides working with the subdivision surface modifier, it adds complexity to the rig, right? To modeling, to rigging, because in the case of modeling you have to handle all these edge creases, vertex creases. Although it's cool, but it can also bring more complexity, right? So start to, and why not, right? If you can find if I can find an aesthetics for me that works without that, that'll be pretty interesting. And as I've been looking to many other character designs, sometimes for games, I always get inspired that, okay, can we use this? Can I use something like this? Can it? Then the shrink wrapping, however, struggles, at least for the shrink wrap targets like the eye. This will still might need some subdivisions, or maybe applied subdivision surface modifier. But okay, let's continue here for the shape case here. So all we need to do here is to bring this as a copy driver, paste driver, edit. So here we're gonna, I believe this will be the positive one, and the value would be the same. And then we can duplicate. And then we can call this R, and then we can inverse the R, and then we can copy driver and paste driver. It was already 1, so that's why that here I'm not sure. Okay, let's try this. It seems to be correct. Okay, something clearly is not working. It's doubling the effect. Oh, I forgot the bone, of course. Okay, so this is working. This why this is failing now? I think I'm using the, yeah, it's stacking the, of course. So basically it's stacking both. So this is actually positive and this one, so they are, yeah, I suspected that, so it's just negative here. Now we got, now if we get here, we got of course we need some fixing here, but you see that this is already doing some job, right? So we can, and there is the C, right? And let's hide some of this freaking proxy meshes here. Okay, no, this is not good. We're gonna so you can just hide here. This is better. Yeah, this is pretty nice, right? And so we can go back to the what is this thing doing here? Okay, so folks, we're gonna bring this character to the spacecraft. I am building another scenery which is called the in the planet Plankton, and this is the Plankton Valley, but actually this is the sunset. Is a lake, some hills or mountains, and there's a big city here, and this is sort of a you'll know what I mean, Jetsons building, right? So it's something like this, right? Imagine you have a city like here, right? Yeah, so this is the, there are some hanging gardens here, whatever. I have to decide how to, okay, but just some spoiling here. Okay, so we need to bring Dorothy back here. Yeah, as you see, it was updated. The skinning, no, the lighting is not currently very good, I guess. Still work in progress. We can just I think I put an extra light somewhere here just to fix. Okay, let's make a. So animating light, why would anyone care about that? Well, yeah. So per shot, why not, right? It is very good actually. Very. So I'm gonna even call this anim light. Right? Actually shot light. No, anim light, right? It's something to be animated, and this is what the riggers, the lot of people, they, including myself, right? Because the powerful idea of rigging, of course, digital rigging, as opposed to it's automation, right? And the problem is the automation is one of the stupidest things ever invented by the human being because as we want to know everything, to learn everything, to manipulate, control everything as best as possible, like a vice, we create technologies that enslaves ourselves, that cause vice to ourselves. And so no wonder now in education, schools, kids, and even people, conscious people to some extent, they know now that technology is not only digital technology, but often technology, right? You need to do go analogical because you need to go back to the roots because we have forgotten for a long while, lots of us, because of the interaction between culture and technology, a bad interaction that produces a culture which sucks when it comes to analogic way of living, the not maybe not even analogical, but organic way of living. And so then we want to automate everything. And when that mindset comes in the to play for rigging, for example, we want to solve all the problems automagically. And sometimes we can sort of solve a lot of critical problems of the technology, of the artwork in that technology, 3D artwork, right? 3D animation, for example, through automation. But in many cases, this research for automation is very wasteful and not very efficient, because in the end, it's like in the end, people do all that to come up with the condition where if I were animating this shade, instead of making a huge research of shading, if I just animate a fucking light object in front of the character, I could make the shading that I would be good enough without like rigging, like modeling the in so it's not saying that those results are bad, but sometimes they are they are too ambitious and too stupid. And in the end, it's all because the fascination about automation that technology or some way of doing stuff can lead, right? So, and the automation, of course, it's a vice. and sometimes it's better to not automate stuff. No, do it by hand, analogically, because it's healthier. And if we stop doing certain things from scratch, like cooking, if everything is automatic, then life sucks in the end. We are eventually slaves of. We think that we are gaining time automating everything, but sometimes we are not. We are losing time, because then we fall as slaves also of capitalism system or other system analog to, and then we work more, as the automation doesn't really help us. It helps us get more time to get more vice, more and that like not necessarily, but often it is obnoxious culture, right? And so this is so a lot of labyrinthic, wasteful developments and conditions to look for the ultimate automation, or not ultimate, but some advanced automation. Then turns out that if you just handed that to more artist that is not fascinated about that so much, or that understood the thing, just okay, that artists can solve stuff just with animating a light object. Not saying the skinny, the lighting, the shading here is great, but that it means that oh, you want, but this shading is fake. You're not. You have to animate the light. Yeah, fuck it. It's actually cool to animate the light. And you know what? It's actually sometimes it's also cool to animate a helper bone, for example, in the thigh region, that for certain radical poses. Like, I'm not sure if the tweaking system, the tweaker bones of the Rigify add-on, right? If the tweaker bones themselves, they can solve skinning in certain radical poses. I never test. I suppose they can help, but sometimes you don't need physics on bones, on skin. Sometimes you can just automate the physics with bones, right? If you know how to animate physics, like analogical 2D traditional animation, just learn some physics. You can just it's kind of intuitive in some way sometimes. Then you can animate the physics yourself, and it's funny. For lots of hair motion is very natural. Cloth moving, it's very natural sometimes, and like secondary action, overlapping action, all that can be very smooth occurring if we just don't waste too much time on other stuff, right? But of course, for bigger project, we might want to have some automations, right? Automation is good, but it's good to know when not to overdo it, because the techs are also limited. They have limitations. They don't understand what we want to automate. So I have to build them to automate them in certain way. And certain thing is better to not waste, not hope too much. That is the point. Not hoping too much, because currently, at least in Blender, there are a lot of things that are even if we automate, like rigging, skinning, even if we automate the skinning, it will not be ideal. I mean that if you compare this to an artist, the artist will still be able to draw much better poses, correct poses, real good poses, Michelangelo poses. You can't do this in 3D, it's garbage. It's not expressive enough, and it doesn't, yeah. So it's the automation is it's not good enough. It's not for that. So you have to bypass automation, go beyond automation. That probably goes for a lot of things. At some point, maybe there might be systems, right, digital systems that will be more handy when it comes to automation and smarter automations and all that, and then it might be more comfortable. So here, folks, I'm just going to use some extra time just to present again the how this the experimental rig that I have here for posing the character, for actually also doing animation interpolation. So I'm going to skip this. Oh, 1 second. Okay, so the system here for posing, I'm still working on it, but just this is more a reminding. So we need the normal and we need the active element. So it works like this. We can grab this with the auto key option turned on eventually, on and off. So we can then get this bone and the shin as the active. We scroll wheel to auto key length of 2, for example. Okay, let's say we have this pose and we want to go here, right? So I'm gonna interpolate here. Let's see what we have. We have this linear motion. Now let's grab this, snap to vertex, exclude non-selectable. Yeah, so here I have a trouble in this big scene. I don't want to have anything that is not the character. Where did I put that collection? Can't find it. Whatever. So I need to lock these and lock the meshes. So I can now snap this to that bone. Yeah, just one snap there. Yeah, so this is not sufficient to have an ideal curvature, but this setup is different. Anyways, we can also from here, let's keyframe everything. We can grab this and this. Yeah, we can use the trackball, but we can RX. And so this will be the interpolation. You see there's what we do here. We'll find somewhere in the middle, snap here. This is not a very perfect circle. You see there's some displacement here, but in the mode I have here, I can't do this automation like because there's a dumped track here. That's my last finding, but it creates this other issue. Anyways, now we're gonna find something else. We're going to keyframe everything here. We're gonna, this is for the upper torso, so we're gonna grab this. We want to snap this one here, GR. It's not exactly just GR. But I think this GR will be here, right? Maybe. Oh, it's a wrong bone here. It was this one. Yeah. Okay, so I got some. So what I moved here was the. Actually, I didn't move in the proper. Okay, let's do it again. Let's just use this one. Of course, this fixes this bone into that place, right? Not sure this is gonna work, but okay, it's gonna work because. So what this does is that now I'll have to grab this, find the interpolation, snap here. I'm not having the auto. Yeah, I have the auto. Okay, why it's displacing there? Okay, apparently this one was incorrect. Okay, so I try to arc this in relation to. I don't know in relation to what, because this bone doesn't control the. Oh, here is what's going on. Of course, we snap here. We snap here. Now, of course, I destroyed the what I had before, but this will never work now, or I guess because we'll keep building some curvature, but you see that when it comes to arc here, right, you got some not too bad thing, right? Then let's do the here RX Z and okay, this is not helping. Frame range, right? Okay, no, not frame range, but around frame, right? Okay, so I want here to snap there. There you go. Now let's do the. Don't need to keyframe all, but it's just for safety. We can just keyframe this. Maybe this one also. Why not? But it's usually we won't pause this with the auto I key. There's more for the reverse I key behavior that we need to fix with other systems here. But so grab this and this multi-selection along normal rotation along X. Yeah, along X. And then as we reach some place like here, we can just get this here, snap here. Yeah, so this is not very smooth, right? It's very smooth, but it's not. And so here is where we can't keep doing. Wait. What happened? How? It's not possible. The dumper track is here. Why it worked now? You see, this is manual baking. I didn't need to bake everything. Right? Look at how good this arc of motion is, right? And if you do this for every single frame, it should, but it shouldn't happen here because of this dumper track. Maybe it's happening because it's just these two bones moving and not yeah, maybe it's because of that. Okay, so that will be an improvement to my system here, experimental system. So another thing we can do is that we have this here that indeed controls the lower torso with the legs. So this will promote an instant, like if you're using, of course, the center of gravity, right? But COG, but the COG is here. It's something else. So this would allow us to make these arcs, and very mechanical, but I decided that here we can also, so here oh, there is a technique. Yeah, there is a parenting technique, of course. Yeah, I think it uses in, it says in Rigify, maybe Cloud Rig. I saw in a demonstration from a fellow Zadik, right? So the one guy behind the Cloud Rig, right? He's not, unfortunately, sadly, he's not exactly an animator, but he's a rigger. So he has plenty of good ideas on rigging. But with his intelligence, the skills with rigging, I wish he understood animation, because then he could use his skills to actually not build Cloud Rig. He'll build something like a you know, more close to organic animation, like Unreal Engine's right, rigging, ephemeral rigging, that dimension of rigging which lets rigging do way more dynamic things for animators, right? So anyways, but other developers are working on that anyways, or even Blender team has something about that. But okay, so we're gonna do this for the head bone, because it might be relevant for the head bone to follow these, or even maybe, now that would cause a dependency cycle. So you'd need to be a bone like yeah, it would need to be a bone like the, yeah, I think in this hierarchy level, because there's not underhead, right? There's just right, the head is an expansion of the upper torso, right? Well, there's the crotch, but it's not the case, right? So what we need here is indeed, as this can control the hands. No, it doesn't control the hands. This actually, no, okay, so it's actually, these ones are lower hierarchy. We need to change them. This one needs to be, I'm gonna make some changes here on the, I always get confused with this one. Yeah, because maybe I need to change this. Use the Rigify thing might be better at this point. This could be the COG actually. Okay, so it's indeed here. So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna go back to the object mode. Then we have this fantastic add-on inbuilt, I guess. Or maybe it's a... edit link library, so it's an extension actually. Incredible extension. Whatever we go here, it we can save, and also it has some auto save, and we can return to original. We'll see that in, well, it's not real time, but essentially it's automatic updates. One of the best, I think it's one of the best extensions out there for working in scenes for 3D animation projects. Ludicrous. So what do we want here? I like this one, but we might have to change it for other stuff. Okay, so we're gonna first, these colors are not helping. So we're gonna do we have the, I think I have it here. Why I can't? Oh, I'm on. Okay. No, this is not exactly that. Yeah. I think this is not Rigify ones. Yeah. Uh, yeah, we don't have it. Okay, we can probably use the... after we can find that. Okay, so we're gonna... first we're gonna change these colors. Doesn't really help me to identify what they are. Maybe this. Okay, then for this one, yeah, it's because the bone has this tilt, so that's okay. So the way we manipulate this is with in this experimental rig GR with the Alt-I key option. So we can GR track ball, I guess. XZ, no, GR. Oh yeah, okay, normal, active. R. Okay, whatever. It's why does this? Oh, of course, because these are no, they are parented disconnected, right? Yes, they are disconnected, so this is not the same as this. Okay, but so I'm missing something here. Yeah, because there's a dumped track anyways, but let's see. Maybe the... Oh, yes, okay, here. It's because the auto key length was not big enough, then it was not working. It needs to be, I think, at least 3. Yeah, 3 to 4, whatever, infinite. And so when it's infinite, then we can have something that more similar to, and you have to fix the glitch anyways. Okay, so anyways, we got some stuff there for the head, right? So we're gonna include the head in this because this could help. So to do this, we need to implement a copy transforms that will be like fake parenting, the way I like to do, which doesn't, like, it's the, so it's a fake parenting on that we need to be, yeah, so we need to drive this thing. And now this is funny, right? Because and probably we need to drive this, and I don't know what can be the property to drive this. I'm very pissed off with the lack of support for this stuff, but okay, we can just use the rig UI custom properties, yes, and then we can have a, like, I don't think I have it now, but bone collections root. Yeah, we have one. Okay, so you have a custom properties bone. Let's use this gear. Gear 3. Okay, let's use this one. And so what this bone does, well, it does nothing. But we can use some of it. Why not? Nah, we're gonna just build the custom property, right? Like the default, because then we'll have to change and so it will, yeah, I was already start to build something here, so I'm gonna call it. Can we organize this in the future? I'm not sure. Anyways, we're gonna use a float that will be called the head head follow, yeah. Mean max, yes. The default is 1, okay. And then we gonna get copy as new driver and go here and paste driver, and then we now this is yeah, just head follow, we'll understand, right? So how to address this? Usually this is somewhere. We don't have a rig UI, but Bone Manager allows us to make a rig UI with a little more pain. But it's a good system, but it's its own system, right? Otherwise, we'll have to look at here and yeah. And of course, we can keyframe this value, right? So this, of course, will rotate the head. So that's kind of cool, right? So now we have this so for the spine doesn't have the head follow, but we can do this snapping here for yeah, if we had these freaking things, right? So you can always keyframe this. So I believe this experimental rig is I think I like it so far. There are some concerns, but like I'm satisfied with this mostly. I think this is an elegant solution because the head, key head, key spine. We have key spine. Um, we can also have tweaker spine. Thus, okay, I don't know where it is. Tweaker torso. Is this the tweaker? No, it is here. These small bones. Yeah, so I was considering if maybe Rigify add-on. Yeah, so this is the problem with Auto I key option. It's F key, and that will not allow this kind of tentacle behavior, right? And this is why the tweakers are necessary. Yeah, this is actually much better for tweaking that motion, because this one is affected by a lot of it's handicapped by the system, right? So we're gonna I'm missing a bone, I guess. This one. Where's this bone? Control hips. The name is ridiculous. When did okay, apparently I forgot to change. Yeah, this is not exactly the hips, so I'm gonna spine. Neck, of course. Oh, it is here. Okay. Of course, this is not very good. We're gonna. Yeah, I think it's important for my rig, so then they are, I can at least visualize them. Yeah, so even though it's not that good, it sort of gives more understanding of what's going on. Yeah, so yeah, because they are really connected. So we exactly, so it's better if we really perceive them as this connected system, right? That will allow us to really get, when you go for the tweakers, right, then we can really understand what they are, their differences are, right? Okay, so I think this is better right now, and this is special. We don't really have the equivalent for the top. Well, the this will be the equivalent, right? But it's stiff, right? It's not like this one. So this one has okay, and also there's a problem here. This tweak doesn't control the shoulders, but it does control the tweaker. So here there's a bit of offsetting if we tweak that, which is not ideal. But what you want me to do, to parent this to the tweaker? It's cross hierarchy is bizarre. Sometimes I don't want to make another mechanism rig to do this kind of stuff, right? Yeah, so this sounds good enough for now. Then GR. Yeah, so this is very interesting, right, folks? So um, really, the most annoying part is this thing, right? Here we can't use this, but we can use these ones to have this behavior. Pin the feet on the ground if we want to move this in sync. Yeah, so here we might have some trouble. Maybe we should build this. Yeah, because this will do some F key. Yeah, the problem is that if we budge this down like we're doing, then we will probably have this a linear motion, although rotation will be that. But for this could, I don't know, I haven't tried yet. But yeah, so here we have some. I see. The pivoting is in a wrong position, right? Okay, so apparently for this bone, we need to bring this there. Yes, yes. Okay, now this fix some pivoting. And of course, let's... Okay. So for the other features, I think this is good. I could have some those shields, right, of the... there's a problem for the fingertip spinning solution that I have, that after I found out that the reverse I key of the auto I key doesn't interpolate correctly. That means during the final and end positions here of the tail joint of the forearm here, it would seem fine. But as we interpolate, we'll have this F key behavior here without any stretch. And so this is solved because the deform rig is stretching. But the follow-up here, it is still... the control bone here is still looking towards the control because of the dumped track bone constraint. So, and this would allow me to still use the auto IQ option with this bone if we do this multi-selection. So this is super good, although it creates... let's see. It does create one inconvenience, is that when I keyframe this and I want to check the tracking of here, if I want to snap here, I can, but then what I cannot is keep making a good snap towards here on every frame. Well, I can again. What I'm not getting right then? What I am getting right actually, because this was supposed to happen. This dumped track was... this is magic. like Blender auto-updated secretively. No, something different I am doing today that the problem that I had created after not having it, it was after I made it's not appearing. So this snapping or this repositioning of here in relation to here after we have dump at track, this would cause a wreak havoc of this curvature, but now I'm baking it as before and I'm getting the perfect arc of motion, as you can see. And the more I manual bake, the more perfect. So okay, so I believe it have to do, I haven't changed anything important in the rig. I think it might have to do with some of the bones that I'm keyframing. Let's pick these three. Let's do something more random here. Yeah, I picked out the three bones, but to no avail. I can't reproduce the issue before of days ago when I was having. So good news, this is auto solved. I don't know the pattern. Maybe it was something to do with a more chaotic, a more developed condition. Okay, see, we have another arc here, and we're gonna do this. Let's try this. No, still not the case. Okay, folks, so yeah, so really the bad thing about this rig, worst thing about this rig, I think, is yeah, the manipulation's a bit tricky, but it's getting kind of responsive. I'm being a bit optimistic, but this is experimentally, this is maybe this won't be further than that. But the facilities of the rig are kind of cool so far. I'm a bit afraid of the fact that the fingertips, I'm not sure how I'm gonna solve that now that I know the new problem. But the problem of the interpolation of the reverse I key, which is sad, but it's doable. But the problem is that for each fingertip, I would have to have a sort of a control bone like that, and that can make the control of the fingers very annoying and very unpractical. So I still need to investigate what to do about the fingertip spinning. I don't think there's a good solution. I don't want to go for the IKF key switch, but I like the hand fingers rig of Regifiadon, not the IKey F key switch thing, but the manipulation of the fingers like on the default rig, IKey rig, like it's just you scale a bone, it clenches the fingers. That's kind of cool. Cool features. Then you have this other feature that classical that rotates the side fingers. That's pretty cool. Yeah, overall those controls are good enough, but yeah, fingertip spinning is kind of very good tool to have. I'll have to address that. But so far, so the worst thing about this rig really is the spine that is stiff. But now with this twist, we have a few more like more Rigify-like facilities here, so offsetting. So this is kind of snaky motion. So this is good, right? What's this? Oh, this is the this is a stretch and squash of the yeah, sure. So there is this part of the rig that is not very easy to do, the reverse Psyche for the lower body. Although, yeah, because we have new behaviors here. What if I... Yeah, this is not connected, right? So we could... just temporarily, just do this, right? Just to see how this can behave, right? If we grab this with the why this is happening more. Okay, why is this happening? In principle, this shouldn't have this kind of... Oh, this is still not connected. Okay. I thought they were connected. Whatever. I just changed the parenting. No. Yeah, I know what went wrong. We made the wrong... Okay, I don't know why this is... Is this symmetrical? Yes. Is this no, this needs a connection. Now it's good. No? Well, it's just the I understand it shouldn't have changed this feature here. It's still behaving crazily. It hasn't changed the parent. Ah, this is the tweaker. Yeah, I made a lot of mistakes. Okay, so that means that now if we grab this, nothing happens, alright, but if we grab this, yeah, crap bone. The bones are rebellious here. Okay. So here we have a more interesting behavior, right, for this. The problem is that I cannot now pin, although it might be better. I don't know why it's some stuff here are so weird, but this is a more regular behavior, right? That is much better for, although it's still problematic, but it's more convenient, right? For and then this bone we probably need some. Yeah, so here what happens that we lost the possibility of the pinning, although I think it was not happening. Anyways, it was not really happening because we have that foot with all this constraint stuff. So, oh, we can do like this. Okay. Yeah, we can do something like this. Interesting. But I'm not sure there's any advantage to this connection here yet. So something to be investigated. I have to make up my mind. So this is probably the biggest problem that I know here in this rig. That is okay, folks. Enough. We bypassed 1 extra hour. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow. To be back with more Shape Kids special rig, right? So essentially on this cartoon card. So essentially today, just to remember, we've made good advancement, but it's slow still, right? And we found stuff that we need to fix. So we have the stretch, we also have this purse, right? Mega stretch, mega purse, or it's actually called called, sorry, it's actually called the melt tightener, and some technical language. So we have also the yeah, we have this straight happy, this straight frown, which we can stretch any of them, right? There is the curved happy and the curved frown, and of course we can manipulate them even individually with some artifacts here because of the shape keys that are not following closely the shrink wrap mesh, or the way the mesh here is. Oh, I see. Actually, this is caused because of the vertices on the shape keys. They are overlapping planarly, like in a curved surface. I see. So it's not that much that the vertices are necessarily extra. Yeah, they are, but it's also because you see there these vertices try to rampage over the other, and so, and this is because of stacking of different shape keys. Yeah, so let's see what happens if we get the, probably this will be very bad because I haven't checked. So this is the anatomic lips, right? It's probably bad in all shapes here. My quest there will be to see how I can shape them on top of them. I'm not sure, right, if I'm gonna handle that, but my idea ideally would be to have both very irregular geometry here for the lips, like more 2D mouth, so that is super simplistic, and eventually evolve that into some volume lips, right, which currently is not very interesting character design wise. It might work on certain poses, but it will be an accident, right? Essentially I have to find a way to fix it. The worst nightmare of that, of course there could be infinite nightmares, but the like the thing that I'm sure that is, I would like to contour it, but maybe there is no shortcut, is that I'll have to stick to I might have to eventually shape. I don't want to do this. I think it's doable because to not, I'll have to imagine I've had to shape an extra lips constant for each of those. Well, this for the right, the one side, right? It's double the work, right? But I think this is avoidable because actually what these lips shapes they do, versus they manipulate the volume of the lips, which is not necessarily, yeah, they are stacking in some way, right? Yeah, not exactly, but that means that if these first ones, yeah, if the first row edge loop, or maybe the second one, yeah, if these get the shape, the original shape fine, that should, you see, if they get the shape right, then the others I need to sculpt them already, so I don't touch these ones. I can even hide them. I need to lock them somehow. I would have to manipulate for each one just these inner ones, right? Just so it's a lot of work, but by manipulating this face loop, for example, these face loops here, these two face loops, their volume, their correspond to maybe not this edge loop here. So just the most, yeah, actually maybe this face loop too. It depends on how many. I'm trying to simplify this. So far for the geometry of the ellipse to work well, I found out that maybe I needed this amount, but even now I'm considering maybe you can remove the last one. It's pretty dangerous, but actually, because what happened when we don't have this one, when the character has we see certain angles, the ellipse lose some potential of shapes, and because the expansion of the ellipse walls, or this part of the ellipse behind, it just doesn't have volume enough, and this happens because of the configuration of this face loop that pulls these vertices to produce the anatomic ellipse, even on a cartoony stylized model, towards the front, and then we need to unwrap these faces forward, and they start to twist and tilt and do all sort of motion to reach the good shape. And that final shape already deleted a wall that was very annoying, but now maybe the best thing will be to delete. Yeah, I'm super tempted to do this because I believe it's possible. So maybe it depends. Oh yes. Okay, so here might be the solution, folks. One alternative, that maybe I need to make more face loops around here, right? Or sort of pull all these face loops which are here, right? All of them. It's actually, so currently we have just these three, right? Which is good, right? So we might have to, I might have to make a new one, like a subdivision, like here. Maybe pull this outwards, right? Rearrange stuff. And so this one will just sort of create this particular volume that maybe with a subdivision surface modifier, it could find some sort of bulging to provide this. Maybe this is doable right now. Let's see. This is very interesting because the interior, these walls, it's really, although they matter, what's really complicated is the external parts, right? Geometry. This one is more regular, although it needs to have this sort of stuff. So you see that the subdivision modifier doesn't seem to be very productive, but maybe this is because of the Maybe this is because of the edge creases I'm employing here. So how would I produce? You see, so I want this thing to bulge outward. I'm not sure if it's possible. Let's remove these ones. Outward, I mean, I want them to so this is the basis, and it's kind of already convoluted, right? This I'm doing is very dangerous. Yeah, we already disrupted stuff, right? The topology, right? In research for some interesting solution, but yeah, at least we know what we are looking for. Let's also remove these ones here. Does it have mark sim here? All right. Oh yeah, we could also certainly mark sim here as well. That means that we don't really touch this geometry here. Can we make how that would work? We can't like we can't make an interpolation here the way we want, right? Ah, I have an idea. Okay, this is probably not, yeah, but it'll create more geometry. It's pure garbage. GGC G no. Okay, never mind. Hold on. Extrude. Okay, so the idea would be to, if we have this, then I would be able to if I made this very sharp, if I made this with edge crease of 1, nothing will happen apparently. For some reason, when I get these ones, they start to we could get this super sharp. Let's add 0.3 to them. It's not really bulging. The sort of gives the, yeah, sort of, but then we have all this mesh to manipulate, right? Can we? Like there, I think there is a, there would be apparently a system that could allow to make like a, there's a graph that like a bevel thing. I've seen something about that. Not sure if it's about the bevel or the subdivision surface modifier, but that will be crazy. Then we could control this kind of. So far it doesn't seem like this could be indeed an approximation to a solution. This being very rounded sounds not a terrible idea, right? Also, I'm having a very crazy idea here. Why don't, why not, this will facilitate modeling. Then I get an invisible face. How many? Okay, yeah, so we have problem with the symmetrization, right? Whatever. And then what we do is just this is kind of crazy, right? But never tried, but I don't look to be symmetrical. Yeah, so mesh editing here, it's kind of dangerous at this point. Yeah, I think I've already destroyed the mesh. I'll have to make some operate. Yeah, let's not do this crazy thing. So, this should be the good enough here, right? And so you see, this kind of configures, should configure some more stable lips, right? And that should be beneficial overall, even though I might have disrupted some of so many things, but it's okay if we don't make mistakes or we can't learn it, so it's part of the experimentation. So yeah, so we'll have to remake these lips, but it could be that at this point we have a much better possibilities for it. Yeah. Let's see, what do you have? You see, this part. So this is where we might need more geometry to cover what's going on, right? That's fine, because the idea will be to, you see, we might not have sufficient geometry for here, right? Because whatever I do here, it doesn't work for the character design that I want. It can work for the top lip, but will not work for the bottom lip, which it's different shape, different volume, lot of asymmetry, right? So you see, for the top one, just this is good enough for, so it says we needed yeah. So what I can do here is make a subdivision, bevel here, right? And so this could go inwards, and this will take care of so this is the question. Maybe I should kind of join stuff here, because it's clear that it's clear, and this is a problem I have been, an issue that I've been contemplating for a while. This is why I was talking about the topology. So what this looks like is that the top lip, it can resolve itself with just 1, 2. So yeah, so this extra face loop here is probably, see, the top lip can be solved with this. The bottom lip, 1, 2, 3 is not enough. So it's like we might need a face loop from here, yeah, but a face loop that is very different. We're gonna make this, because this is what makes sense, and I hope we have a symmetrization here. I'm not sure. I think there is no symmetrization here to help. Yeah, as you can see, no symmetrization, but we can probably still get it right. So the cool thing here is that this is an inner, this is the, oh, it doesn't face loop. Yeah, no, it does face loop. Okay. So this is the last face loop before this. Yeah. And this is just the extra one. You see, so is the extra one that will generate the volume that we want. So this is what this is what I was talking about, folks. I think I found, so not sure this will be good for armature deform, but I'm not into armature deform here, as you know, so this is safe. It's pretty safe to do these manipulations here. One before the, yeah, it's confusing, but what we need here is this one, right? I just hope this thing won't cause wreak havoc to my shape keys that much. And you see, this can be very close here, but this is not necessarily a good idea. For the bases, we can totally already start spreading this geometry where it would fit better, right? Anatomically, right? Because this is not the anatomic one. Here we'll need to decide if we snap or not. Yeah, I think this will be a super solid one. And now if we address the constant shape key, we have a good structure to be playing here. Because now we have this thing that we can place anywhere we want. For that particular development, right? And here, this is the most important. And we have very simple manipulation for this face loop. Yes, finally. Look at this. This is not a face. This subdivision modifier crap. I don't know how to solve it. I don't need to solve it right now. It can be helpful. There are ways to do this. I don't want to add geometry. But there's a question that I might need to add some geometry here, right? Here. I was missing this for certain shapes, right? Yeah, very good now to... It's the first time that I came up with this solution after maybe years rigging, making experimental rigging, researching. It's super... Maybe I'm just not creative enough, but... Or I wasn't applying my creativity properly. Now it turns out that I think this is a good approach. Yeah, this is a bit too bulgy for the character. I'll have to still manipulate this a little better, but we're getting... This is a huge advancement. This we need to... Yeah, I have to find more subtle curvature here. Looks like the curvatures from, I don't know, old CG graphics, like, I don't know, what's the name of the Little Big Adventure 2 Twinson's Odyssey? LBA 2. The characters had some sort of bulgy lips like that. Yeah, I still have to manage here certain stuff. We don't need to have this at maximum always. Sometimes we model it some way, and then we find out that the best is some position. Yeah, so there are a lot of work here to do. Yeah, but it is good enough. We can have many things that work nicer now. We see that none of the shape keys don't seem to have broken too much with our stuff, so that is very, very good. Let's go back now to the scene and see what we can get. Yeah, we totally needs to get those ice rigs. So then we can do actually something funnier, right? More, not just the mouth, right? Not just the body. And pose library for everything, right? So you need I don't know, it's this reddish color on, it's unexpected, probably some light that is. I don't know, just playing some random pose here, nothing. Yeah, so here we have to still find a better whatever. Oh yeah, there's also the question of the leverage. Um, okay, so maybe I shouldn't have budged this bone too much. The ankle leverage, right, system, because without the Ike bone constraint regular setup, that thing would not be very accessible. I think there would be ways, but the problem always comes back to the interpolation, finding good arcs for interpolation. Okay, let's see what we have here. Yeah, oh, we still have problems, but we're getting some cool looking still, in spite of a lot of glitches and still not still substantiated rig model, right? And character design, but it's already getting quite interesting. All right, folks, thanks for watching. Take care. Happy blendering. Now I'm going. Have a nice week. See you soon. Happy blendering.